I feel like 60 minutes in here, boy, we getting it in.
Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap.
All right, afternoon. My name is Victor Upchurch. I'm a coach, basketball, baseball, softball. I've been doing all of those at least for the last 15 years. Have coached every age group from Pee-wee all the way up to high school varsity. Basketball in the 90s when I grew up, what a beautiful era. So for instance, in the 90s, we had, it's still the two conferences like it is today. You got the East and the Western Conference. The Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks, teams of those nature play physical style of basketball. Not like you see today. They actually threw elbows, slammed people on the floors. It was kind of more like hockey. Okay, the Western Conference was kind of like how it is today. You had your Golden States, your Sacramentos, your LA Lakers, and they play fast tempo, more or less a style of play that you would see at the Y, where everybody gets their shots off, and you know what I mean. We're playing pretty much two-hand touch basketball. In the 90s, it was more emphasis on a big man. That's one of the things that we don't have in today's game is you don't have a back to the basket center or power forward. They usually have broad shoulders and a bevy of post moves. Today, everybody plays 5 out, which means even the center is behind the three-point line, and that's basically how the game is ran now, where everybody wants to get a three-point shot. Nobody puts emphasis on the mid-range. That's kind of a lost art. As a result, free throw percentages, I'm pretty sure you could find have gone down just because people don't shoot inside the three-point line anymore. I would say that style fit that time of the era, and now as time has evolved into the 2010s, where it's more individualized skill set, a focus on the individual skill set. You have guys like forwards and centers who actually go to guard camps and learn how to handle the ball and do things that guards can do just as well as a guard can do. So the 90s, for instance, toughness was more emphasized, if you will, especially with things like such as concussions or just simple injuries. I had a coach once tell me, if you're hurt, you can still play, but if you're injured, that's when you can't play. And that kind of was a standardized quote that was used probably any place on earth in the 90s, regardless of the sport. It was just coached. You were coached and held to, I guess, a higher standard as far as being mentally tough, physically tough, etc. Today, we more emphasize on listening to the athletes, you know what I mean, and focusing more on the individual per se as the team. So we'll take an individual look at a person that may say they're injured or hurt and not judge them according to the team standards or just because we need you to play or things of that nature. So I think we're more health conscious toward the individual today, which is a great thing. Trash talk is another thing that also was kind of heightened in the 80s. You got people per se like Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, the list goes on. And that was more or less a part of the game. It was just a way of life, So basically, you were taught that if you didn't want somebody to talk trash to you, then you D them up, or you stop them from scoring. That would take their mouth out of the game. Today, we err more on the side of sportsmanship. It's addressed in most pregame rules, either way, even all the way up to the pros. There's emphasis, and we like to use the term that the court or the field is an extension of the classroom. And basically, with that being said, you wouldn't go into a classroom cussing or fussing or, joning, as the kids say, on another peer or classmate, and we like to bring that same principle out to the field or the court, if you will. Today, again, we try to shy away from that and err more on the side of having class and, being professional, having sportsmanship for your opponents as well as yourself. and maybe any parents that may be viewing the game, always cognizant that all eyes are always observing, what we do. So we just want to keep that in mind and go from there.
Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap.